37 is, in all honesty, a deceptive, deeply flawed food labeling scheme full of special interest exemptions and loopholes. It has also been said that Prop 37 is manipulating the public to think it is a necessary proposition. Prop 37 should not be enacted, and things should stay the way they are already, unlabeled. Let me start by restating one of my opponent's claims, the right to know. He says that the people are feeling disconnected with their food because of the uncertainty of its contents. My counterclaim to this is simply there is no real benefit to labeling GE foods. The problem with his point is that it is really just irrelevant to what is actually important in today's society. We already know what is in our food. Organics are labeled as such, and allergens are clearly labeled on specific foods. You notice they contain soy, peanuts, and milk products. The rest of the food on the market is genetically engineered, and though it does not say so, it is not a difficult thing to assume. Nearly 80% of all foods are genetically engineered, including 85% of U.S. corn and 91% of soybeans, according to a site known as True Food Now. The main problem with the right to know legislation is that the advocates are implying that we need a warning, basically, to protect consumers from the non-existent ill effects of genetically engineered foods. As it stands today, we have a choice with what type of food we can take. Like I said before, organics and allergens are labeled, and most of everything else is genetically enhanced in some way. Sticking a label on every piece of food would be a bit much to look at, don't you think? Either way, one could easily choose to eat only organics, or just allow themselves to pick up whatever it is they want from the grocery store. We don't need a label to help us choose and restrict what to eat. Another one of my opponent's claims was, people don't know enough about GE products, so they are leading to societal health problems. This is a false suspicion. My counterclaim to this is that there is plenty of information on GE foods that specifically states their safety and health benefits. GE foods have been around for nearly 2 decades, and no significant GE food-related health cases have been reported in that time. To be honest, if GE foods were unsafe, I'm sure by now we would know, considering more than half of our food is genetically engineered. We probably eat at least one genetically engineered piece of food per day, whether we know it or not. But this isn't something to be worried about. Many scientists and food agencies have proven genetically engineered foods to be perfectly safe. GE foods are meticulously scrutinized by the Environment Protection Agency, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and the Food and Drug Administration, to name a few, before being sent out into the market. My opponent mentions that animal testing has shown negative effects of GE foods. Well, these are studies done on animals, whose systems, though are slightly similar to ours, are indeed different. And the genetically engineered food is most likely affecting them differently than it would affect a person. As a matter of fact, the doubt over the safety of GEs would only increase if we stuck a label on them. The label, as I hinted earlier, would act more as a warning than simply a label, possibly driving away potential buyers. Food companies and farmers admit to the American Soybean Association that they see Prop 37 as threatening the public's confidence in the safety of their products. This would be unfair and unnecessary. Genetically engineered food is actually safer in a sense. Crops that are genetically modified resist diseases and insects better than organic crops and require fewer pesticides. Professional studies have found no nutritional difference between organic and non-organic foods, basically saying that GE foods can be just as healthy as purely organic foods. Lastly, I'd like to point out that one of the goals of the proposition was to either label or change all foods to organic. But the problem with changing all food to organics is the cost, the effort, and the hassle. My counterclaim to this is changing all foods into organic would not better society like the advocates propose, but would worsen it. Non-GE ingredients are higher priced, and economic studies show that this would increase food costs for the average family. Farmers would also lose profit, considering organic foods are harder to produce in greater quantities. And, I mean, think about it. Our world is slowly overpopulated. With 7 billion people, we can't necessarily rely on simply organic foods that are not produced as quickly or in as great of a quantity as GE foods. There would not be enough of an organic supply to suffice the world's population growth in the future. Organic crops must be grown in safe soil, have no modifications, and must remain separate from conventional products, while conventional industrialized agriculture takes up less land and can be produced more efficiently than organic farming, according to Maya Paul from Organic Foods Health Guide. Jay Rayner, a Guardian's food writer, says, "It's time we recognize that farming is an industry, much like car manufacturing or steel forging, and which always works better on mass scale, but can still be managed sustainably." Basically, he's saying that we should accept the fact that we're entering a new day and age in our society, where this sort of technology, by that I mean genetically modified foods, could work to our advantage. In conclusion, GE foods are not a bad thing, and they should not be labeled because of the negative connotation that was written.